Hello and welcome. My name is Daniel Hovicius, and I'm a licensed professional counselor supervisor and a nationally certified counselor. Today, we're going to be looking at how to supervise school counselor interns, and we're going to look at how to integrate the Integrated Developmental Model, IDM, and the School Counselor Supervisory Model. This is going to be a training to learn a developmental and contextual and ethical framework for effective school counseling based supervision. The core aim of an effective supervision isn't to just teach skills, it's to realize the empowerment promise of the intern. This promise is the supervisor's commitment to foster autonomy and self efficacy. Drawing from the integrated developmental model, we meet the interns where they are initially, providing structure and modeling. But our ultimate goal is to transition them to autonomous, data driven professionals. Through the School Counselor Supervisory Model, the promise means empowering the intern to be advocates and system change agents, not just for administrators. We facilitate reflective practices and ethical clarity so they can own their professional identity. By modeling and consulting, we can transfer power, ensuring that when the internship ends, the counselor steps into the role confidently, competently, and fully accountable for the impact on their students' achievements and equality. Texas is in a unique position when it comes to school counseling supervision. After completing their master's program, many school counselors transition directly into practice without receiving ongoing clinical or developmental supervision. Instead, they are often managed by principals who lack counselor training and evaluating counselors primary on administrative tasks, testing coordination, scheduling, or discipline support, rather than counseling effectiveness. This gap creates a challenge for emerging professionals trying to develop their counselor identity, ethical reasoning, and multicultural competencies within school context. In response, this presentation integrates two models of supervision: the Integrated Developmental Model by Strollenberg and Nielsen in 2010, and the School Counselor Supervisory Model by Luke and Bernard in 2006. Together, these frameworks support both professional growth and program competencies. The IDM offers developmental lens, emphasizing how motivation, autonomy, and self awareness evolve over time, while the SCSM situates supervision within the ASCA National Model, addressing counseling skills, program implementations, and professional identity. By combining these two frameworks, supervisors can structure reflective and culturally responsive guidance that honors the developmental needs of those interns while ensuring alignment with the ASCA standards and the Texas Educational Agency TEA expectations. This integration promotes ethical decision making, accountability, and data driven practice. Ultimately, effective supervision not only strengthens the intern's confidence and competence, but also enhances the overall impact for the school counseling program on students' achievement, social emotional wellness, and equity across the campus. The Integrative Development Model, developed by Strollenberg and McNeil 2010, is one of the most widely applied frameworks in clinical and counseling supervision. It recognizes that supervisees grow through distinctive developmental levels, each defined by shifts in motivations, autonomy, and self awareness. The supervisor's role is to adapt their approach to meet the supervisee where they are developmentally, rather than applying a one size fits all method. At level one, interns are typically highly motivated but low in autonomy. They crave structure, clear expectations, and feedback. Supervision here focuses on modeling counseling skills, reinforcing ethical practices, and providing a sense of safety and direction. By level 2, supervisees begin to fluctuate between confidence and self-doubt as they encounter complex client issues and real-world school challenges. Supervisors take on a more reflective and supportive role, helping interns to process emotions and connect theories to practice. At level 3, supervisees demonstrated greater autonomy and self awareness, integrating their personal style within their professional identity and assuming more ownership over their cases and programming. Through these stages, the supervisor fluidly moves between three roles: teacher, counselor, and consultant, based on the supervisee's needs. The ultimate goal is to foster independence, self reflection, and ethical competency. When applying when applied in school counseling, the IDM creates a developmental roadmap that helps interns transition from structured learners to confident, data driven professionals who can effectively deliver the ASCA aligned program within diverse education settings. The School Counselor Supervisory Model, developed by Luke and Bernard in 2006, was designed specifically to meet the unique needs of school counseling supervision. It extends Bernard's discrimination model by integrating the ASCA National Model to ensure that supervision remains grounded in both counseling theory and educational practice. Unlike general clinical supervision models, the SCSM acknowledges that school counselors function within a complex system that requires balancing mental health support, academic guidance, and program leadership. The model organizes supervision around three domains. The first is counseling skills, which includes individual, group, and crisis counseling within the school setting. The second, program implementation, emphasizes the delivery of comprehensive, data driven counseling programs aligned with the ASCA four components: define, manage, deliver, and assess. The third domain, professional identity, which encourages counselors to develop leaders, advocates, and change agents within their schools. Supervisors adopting the SCSM use flexible roles: teacher, counselor, and consultant to guide interns through each domain. As teacher, they provide instruction and modeling. As counselors, they facilitate reflection and emotional processing. And as consultants, they collaborate to empower interns towards greater autonomy. The SCSM ensures that interns not only strengthen counseling technique, but also learn how to manage program using data to demonstrate outcomes and advocate for equitable access. When applied with fidelity, the model produces reflective, ethical, and culturally responsive school counselors ready to serve diverse populations. Meet Maria, a talented level 1 intern in her school counseling program. Maria is bright, compassionate, and eager to learn, but she's encountering a challenge that many new interns face: trying to balance the endless administrative task of scheduling and testing with her desire to engage in meaningful counseling work. She's beginning to question whether she's truly functioning as a counselor or just another campus manager, as tensions has left her anxious about her competency and disconnected from her professional identity. From an integrated developmental model perspective, Maria demonstrates the hallmark traits of a level 1 supervisee: high motivated but low autonomy. She's enthusiastic but unsure of herself, craving structure, modeling, and reassurance. She needs her supervisor to provide clear direction and scaffolding to strengthen her confidence and skill set. Through the school counseling supervision model lens, her challenges become contextualized within the school's environment. The school focus center on two domains: program delivery, how she organizes and prioritizes her workload, and professional identity, how she maintains her counselor role and administrative pressures. The supervisor responds with intentional flexibility, moving through the three roles. In the teacher, they model time management aligned with the ASCA National Model. In the counselor role, they process Maria's feelings of inadequacy and internal conflict. And finally, in the consultant role, they empower Maria to co create an action plan for improvement. By integrating IDM and SCM, SCMS, Maria experiences both developmental growth, increase her autonomy, and contextualized competency, mastering the unique demands of school-based counseling. Effective supervision for school counseling interns requires intentional use of multiple methods that promote both skill development and reflective growth. Two core approaches highlighted in the literature are individual supervision and triadic supervision, Borders ETL 2004 and KCREP 2024. Individual supervision provides interns with one-on-one time to process cases, discuss ethical dilemmas, and receive personalized feedback. In Maria's case, individual supervision allows the supervisor to tailor support to her developmental need, consistent with the Integrated Development Model. Early in her internship, she needs structure and modeling. The supervisor might review her case notes, role-play counseling scenarios, and demonstrate how to integrate data-driven interventions aligned with the ASCA National Model. Individual supervision becomes a space for direct instruction, modeling, reflective dialogue that strengthens Maria's confidence and self-awareness. Triadic supervision, on the other hand, involves the supervisor and two supervisees. This method promotes collaboration, peer learning, and shared accountability. When used within the School Counselor Supervision Model, triadic supervision mirrors the collaboration nature of the school's environment, encouraging interns to share insight on program delivery, consult about complex student issues, and observe multiple leadership styles. Both methods can be completed with live or recorded reviews, allowing for immediate feedback on counseling micro skills and presence. By combining these methods, the supervisor ensures supervision is both developmentally responsive and culturally grounded, preparing interns to navigate the complex, data driven, and multicultural realities of school counseling practice. Supervision is not just about teaching skills, it's about relationships. The quality of supervisory relationship often determines whether supervision becomes a space for growth or a source of tension. According to Bernard and Goodyear in 2019, supervision includes both interpersonal and intrapersonal dynamics that influence trust, safety, and learning. Interpersonally, supervisors must be aware of power differentials and how communication styles, feedback tones, and boundary clarification affects interns' willingness to be vulnerable. In Maria's case, if the supervisor uses an overly directive tone, it might reinforce her insecurity and limit self-exploration. Instead, collaborative dialogue and empathy can cultivate psychological safety, supporting her movement towards autonomy. Intrapersonally, both supervisor and supervisee brings their own historical values and biases. The supervisor's self-awareness is critical, especially when exploring issues related to race, gender, and spirituality or social class. Using the multicultural and social justice counseling competencies frameworks, Ratliff et 2005, the supervisor models cultural humility, acknowledges systemic barriers within schools, and invites Maria to process how her own background shapes her work with diverse students. Effective supervisors demonstrate empathy, openness, and consistency while managing the dual roles of evaluating and supporter. When relational ruptures occur, They address them directly and model repair, teaching interns how to navigate similar dynamics with clients. Ultimately, supervision becomes a microcosm of counseling itself, a space for reflection, trust building, and authentic growth that prepares interns for ethical and cultural responsive practices. Supervision plays a critical role in preventing burnout among school counselors. Fay and colleagues in 2020 found a significant relationship between supervision satisfaction and the ASCA National Model implementation. Counselors who received support, structured supervision reported lower emotional exhaustion and higher professional efficacy. The study suggested that when supervisors explicitly connected supervision goals to ASCA components, define, manage, deliver, and assess, interns perceived their work as purposeful and sustainable. For interns like Maria, effective supervision not only builds skills, but also protects a well being. A supervisor who models boundaries, reflective practices, and data driven decision making helps interns understand how to manage competing demands without losing sight of the counselor mission. This study reinforces that supervisors' quality directly impacts program fidelity and counselor wellness, positioning supervisors as a both professional and wellness intervention. Integrating these findings into your supervision plans means emphasizing self care, systemic advocacy, and reflective supervision as routine discussion points. By doing so, supervision actively reduces burnout risks while promoting ASCA aligned effective and retention across the profession. While Hilt and Levi's 2025 Educator, Counselor, School Counseling Supervision Model offers a compelling framework for bridging the instructional and counseling, it also raises an important question about the role, overload, and professional identity. This model assumes that effective school counselors must fully integrate both educator roles, a vision that sounds aspirational but may not be sustainable. In reality, many school counselors experience what could be described as professional imposterism, feeling pressure to constantly prove their legitimacy within the educational hierarchy. This pressure can lead to blurred boundaries and unrealistic expectation and chronic burnout. Our, as our education system evolves, it may be more ethical and practical to balance rather than merge these two identities. Counselors can collaborate with educators without absorbing their full instructional duties, preserving the mental health and developmental expertise that define our profession. True professional efficacy doesn't come from doing everything, but, but from doing what aligns with our core competencies, supporting students, academic, social and emotional, and career development through evidence based, developmentally appropriate, and culturally responsive practices. The challenge then isn't to be a 100% educator and a 100% counselor. It's to reclaim balance, boundaries, and authenticity in the profession that often stretches beyond recognition. Savitz, Roma, and Nicola in 2022 advocate for ethological perspective on school counseling equity, emphasizing that a counselor effectiveness depends on interactions across individual, institutional, and systemic levels. Using Bronfeiner's ecological system theory, they argue that supervision and professional support must address barriers embedded in school structures, not just individual competencies. Applied to supervision, this means helping interns like Maria examine how policy, leadership, and cultural climate affect their counseling work. Supervisors encourage systemic thinking, asking, how does the campus environment enable or constrain your ability to counsel effectively? This ecological lens transforms supervision into a site of advocacy and critical reflection. For diverse interns, especially those serving in marginalized communities, an ecological approach supports multicultural competencies and social justice orientation consistent with the MSJCC. It reinforces the ethical supervision must extend beyond personal skills to include institutional accountability and policy reform. Integrating Salvo Romer and Nicola's insights strengthen the development and contextual integration of the IDM and SCSM, reminding us that equitable supervision is not just about counselor growth, but it's about transforming schools into inclusive, healing environments. Effective supervision in school counseling must rest on clear ethical standards and accurate state rules. Ethically, supervisors are responsible for client welfare, supervisee growth, multicultural responsiveness, and fair evaluation per the ASCA Code of Ethics 2004, Section F, and the ASCA Ethical Standards 2022. These documents all call for culturally responsive supervision, ongoing competency monitoring, and the use of ethical decision-making models when facing dilemmas. In Texas, current rules now do not require prior classroom teaching for instance of the school counselor certificate. Following SB 798, the 88th legislature, the State Board of Educators Amendment 19 TAC Code 239.20 to remove the 2-year teaching requirement effective September 1st, 2023. Today, issuing hinges on the competencies and approval preparation programs and passing the appropriate exams, not on teaching experience. So, should Texas add supervision / mentorship requirements for certified school counselors? From a risk management lens, yes. Structured post-certification supervision, for example, mentored induction year. This would help protect students' welfare and reduce ethical risk by ensuring consultation and oversight. It would also support school counselor identity formation and multicultural competencies. It would align program with ASCA's program fidelity and data-driven outcomes. It would also provide districts clear documentations of completion for due diligence. The bottom line, Texas Update Rule modernizes access of the profession, pairing with formal supervision and mentorship requirements would close the current support gap and enhance quality of safety and ethical and equality in service delivery. Risk management and supervision is both a preventative and protective process. It safeguards the welfare of students, supports the supervisee's development, and protects the supervisor and school district from ethical or legal obligations or legal liabilities. According to Borders 2024 and the ACA Code of Ethics 2004, Section F.1.A, supervisors carry the ultimate responsibility for ensuring that service provided by interns meet the standard of care. This means monitoring competencies, providing timely feedback, and documenting supervisory accurately. For school counseling interns, risk often arises from 3 main areas: role confusion, ethical decision making, and insufficient oversight. Because school counselors operate within the educational hierarchy, interns may receive conflicting direction from administrators and their clinical supervisor. The supervisor's role is to clarify boundaries, reinforce ethical standards, and ensure that interns' actions aligns with both the ASCA Ethical Standards 2022 and FERPA confidentiality laws. A strong supervisor contract is essential. It should define expectations, emergency protocols, and procedures for handling high-risk cases such as abuse reporting or suicidal idealization. Supervisors should also maintain detailed records of the supervision sessions, case notes, and evaluations to document due diligence. For supervisees, risk management involves knowing when to consult, maintaining self care, and reporting ethical concerns promptly. Integrating the integrated developmental model helps supervisors match oversight to the intern's competency level, increasing structure when needed, granting autonomy as confidence grows. Ultimately, thoughtful supervision mitigates risk by prompting ethical considerations, cultural responsiveness, and professional accountability within the school system. Evaluation and supervision serves two vital purposes. It ensures accountability to ethical and educational standards, and it provides structural feedback to guide the intern's professional growth. Effective supervision Effective supervisors use both formal and summative evaluation to monitor development, identity strengths, and address areas for improvement. Formal evaluation is ongoing and developmental. It occurs through supervising using reflective journaling, supervisory session notes, and weekly goal setting. These methods allow supervisors to assess progress in real time and adjust interventions according to the intern's developmental level under the Integrated Developmental Model. For example, early in Maria's internship, formal assessments focusing on skill acquisitions and self awareness, while later sessions emphasize autonomy and leadership. Summative evaluations occur at the midpoint and at the end of the internship to measure overall competency. Two reliable measurements include the Counselor Competency Scale, revised, the CCR, by Laby et al. In 2018, which evaluates counseling skills, ethical behaviors, and professional identity, and the ASCA American School Counselor Intern Evaluation Rubric, which measures alignment with the ASCA's four components: define, manage, deliver, and assess. Additionally, interns are taught to conduct a campus needs assessment to evaluate student data such as attendance, discipline, and academic performance. This process strengthens their ability to design data-driven interventions and evaluate program outcomes consistent with School Counselor Supervisory Model. When evaluation is used as a collaborative learning process rather than a punitive measure, it promotes confidence, accountability, and readiness for independent practice in today's multicultural and ethical complex school settings. We've intentionally woven together the Integrated Developmental Model and the School Counseling Supervisory Model to create a framework that is both developmentally responsible and contextually grounded. This integration allows supervision to evolve alongside the intern's growth. For someone like Maria, it means progressing from structured and modeling she craves as a level 1 intern towards the confident and autonomy reflected in the SCSM's domains of counseling skills, program implementation, and professional identity. This integrative approach transforms supervision from a procedural task into a practice of empowerment and advocacy. It holds four critical implementations for the profession. First, fidelity and wellness are intertwined. As Fry and colleagues in 2020 found, supervision satisfaction is directly linked to the ASCA National Model, fidelity, and burnout prevention. Supervision then becomes not just part of the professional expectation, but a wellness intervention that sustains counselor identity and energy. Second, it promotes ethical advocacy, drawing on Salvage, Romers, and Nichols' 2020 ecological frameworks. Supervision becomes a platform for supervision accountability, encouraging interns to address inequities and challenge institutional barriers rather than adapting to them. Third, effective supervision ensures risk mitigation through clear contracts, ethical documents, and integrating of multicultural and social justice competencies to safeguard both students and supervisees. Finally, in light of Texas Senate Bill 790, which removes the teaching requirements for certification, structured post certification supervision fills this critical gap. By institutionalizing mentorship, we strengthen counselor preparedness, ethical competency, and equitable outcomes. Ultimately, quality supervision strengthens the counselor, the schools, and the students they serve.